Alright, in this video I'm going to show you a little bit about what's happening underneath SPSS. Any of our statistical software that we use that has windows and pull-down menus are all actually running computer code in the background. If you get more serious with doing statistical analysis, then you'll want to look at either doing it in Python or R. R is more focused on statistics. Python is a little bit more general purpose. If you're already using Python, then it doesn't hurt to start exploring how to run some of these tests in Python. R is very user-friendly, very quick to pick up, but both of them are computer code, and not everyone is comfortable with that. However, SPSS is still using code in the background. The benefit of having that code is that it gives you a record of what you've done. It tells you what the analysis was. Right now, if I run, say, a two-way ANOVA with our value and two fixed factors, we get a lot of output. And we can usually infer what was in the output. There's details throughout here, but you have to kind of hunt. So if you have the SPSS syntax or the SPSS code, then you can quickly see. And we can make it so that code will be included in your output. So I'm going to show you, if it's not already here, we need to turn that on. I'm going to end that. So where we turn on, or where we include the SPSS syntax, if it's not showing up, under Edit, Options, and you might start in the General tab, but if you look into the Viewer tab down here in the lower left, Display Commands in the log. We want to select that, hit Apply, and OK. Now if I run that same model that I did just a second ago, there at the top you can see this is the SPSS code that gets, this is what's actually run. All of these drop down menus are just populating this code and sending that to SPSS, and SPSS uses this to return what you're looking for. The SPSS syntax is really pretty straightforward. The indentation here matters, so uni ANOVA, value by condition and color. That's doing univariate analysis with value as our dependent, by condition and color. These are our fixed effects. And then you can see the sum of squares type 3. In fact, let's pull this up. Go back to analyze, general linear model, univariate. See if I can. Nope. I have to keep that up. So we're going to come here. Let's see if I can't arrange these. Alright, so the univariate analysis, we have value by condition and color. If we look at model, you see sum of squares type 3. That's method, SS type 3. The intercept is included. I'm not sure we see that there, but plot, so under plots I had specified one plot, condition by color. And so you can see condition, profile, or plot, profile, condition, color, line, or the type. Line chart, error bars I didn't check, so error bar is no, mean difference no, y-axis auto. So you can see how all of this is included just from what you've selected here. Again, by having this, then you can quickly glance up here and you can see what all those settings were. So if you were to recreate it, you wouldn't perhaps accidentally make a different or run a different analysis, or somebody that you gave this analysis to could quickly look at this syntax and just recreate it themselves. I'm going to walk you through, and you won't necessarily need to use this unless you're interested, because everything can be done inside the pull down menus, but it's good to know how to run this, especially if you were to take somebody else's analysis. So in that code, if somebody gave you that code, you could take that code, copy and paste it into SPSS and run exactly what the other person ran without having to go through here and select every option and make sure you make it exactly the same. So to start, we need some sample code. Let's look at, I'm going to run this one more time, and I'm going to make it a little simpler. I'm going to take the plot out, and I don't have any post hocs included. And let's take out some of these EM means because we're going to add those ourselves. I'm going to show you how to modify that code. Options, good, good, good. Okay, so we've run this. Now, it's a lot simpler here. So univariate analysis, method, intercept, our alpha, our criteria, and the design. This design is the important part. This is how the model. This is the model right here. Condition, color, and condition by color. So we have an interaction effect in here, and you can see that down here, condition by color. So there's not a significant interaction between these. Now, we're going to need this code. So let's say you've saved this in your notes and you want to rerun it, or somebody gave you this code and you need to run it. If you right click on it and just copy, you can copy all that code. And then in, I think, any window, new and syntax. So here's syntax. All right, we're done with that. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. Now, this syntax window is basically a code editor. This lets you manually write code. And once it's done, you can hit the play button up here that's currently grayed out, and you can run your code. For example, if I type in nonsense, then it allows me to run it, but if I try to run it, it's not going to work because SPSS doesn't understand what nonsense is. Just delete that, and I'm going to paste in that code that we copied from the last analysis. Now you can see here this block. This means because the Uninova is the thing we're running, and these are all options that are underneath that. So they're indented by a few spaces. The indentation matters, I believe. Let's check. It doesn't. The indentation does not matter, but it's best to keep that indentation in there for readability. So 2 spaces, just so it makes it easier to see. So once everything's in there, like I just did, you can hit play, and there we have the exact same analysis that we ran through the pull-down menus. One thing that could be interesting here is if currently our critical value is set at 0.5, if we wanted to increase that or decrease that, say 0.001, then it's going to change some of our significance. If you needed to manually change that, we're going to leave it at 0.05, or we could say maybe make it 1, and now that's not really going to change. This one, what is this one? 0.473. So if we change it, we would never do this because that wouldn't make much sense. We said 0.5, still didn't change it, but that's fine. Let's see, 0.05, we want to leave that the way it is. So one benefit with two-way ANOVA is that we can have tables comparing our simple effects. That's something we're talking about. That, again, can be done if we run the univariate. If we come and look at, where is the contrast? No, plots, no. EM means, that's it, EM means. So if we want, we can add these in here and we can get the simple effects along with our post hoc. But I'm going to show you how to enter that in with syntax instead. So if we need to add this, and a benefit again to this, doing it manually, is that you can do it more quickly too. Instead of having to go in and change all those settings, you can copy and paste. But you have to know the codes. Again, it's something you would learn over time, but we know EM means is what we're looking for, and we want tables. So these are tables from the EM means. And here we're going to set up the comparisons. So we need to put in our two grouping variables. And the first one we want to do is we have condition and color in this data set. So this would be dependent on whatever your data has. The sample data that I'm using has condition and color. So we're going to do condition and color, and then condition for the comparison, and then we're going to add the ADJ lets us add our post hocs, and we'll just put LSD on this. And let's do one more. Tables, and then we're going to go the opposite color by condition and compare color again, ADJ least squares. All right, once everything's in there, it's good to keep your capitalization the same, and so you get the highlighting. I didn't quite get that here, but it recognized it still. Once we're happy with that, then we hit play or run, and now you can see that it's added our table, our there it is, our pairwise comparisons. Let's see, and so we have our colors. We're going to have a couple. So the first one, that first line that we put in there, was looking at condition by color and comparing condition. So that's this one. So let's see. We have condition by color, and then we're comparing by condition. So that lets us look at, okay, in the color, condition A, and then this comparing with B, C, and D, and we can look at all these very specific combinations of groups. We switch that around to get the other test, or to get the other table, and then now you can see that it's switched and put color on this side. So that gives you a little flexibility in what you can do. It allows you to do a bit more specific analysis if you wanted to, but most importantly, I'm going to run this again, it includes the code at the top. So when we're doing statistical analysis, a lot of times if we're comparing with other people, or say you've opened a data set that you haven't looked at in a couple of months and you don't remember what you did exactly, including this syntax here gives you basically quick notes so you know exactly what it is was run. And then if you're sharing it with somebody else, you can give them the syntax, and then they can run exactly what you've run on their side. So although you don't need the syntax for everything you're doing, it's a very important and handy skill to be able to have. Not that you would write it out line by line, but so at least you understand enough to, one, interpret it, and two, take syntax from someone else or share syntax with someone so you know exactly what was run and you can rerun it and recreate it. So don't be overwhelmed. It is computer program. It is computer code. If you're not familiar with that, that's fine. This is kind of a watered down, so it's a bit easier to interpret. Once you have this syntax on, and I strongly suggest that you make sure if it's not on, I need to go here. If it's not on in the options, that you turn it on, so that way whenever you run something, you get used to seeing it up here and you start to learn and recognize what these commands reference. And then you have built-in notes. So I hope that helps. Be sure you go and at least turn on your syntax, and then if you never enter it, that's fine, but at least you know what it is and have a general idea of how to interpret it.